Necromancer is a gigantic joke. And yes, these are 4 Necromancers. I love playing the Necro and it has a great feel to it, but there's some glaring design flaws that I want to talk with you about and also send as an open letter to the devs with your feedback in the comments as well. No, I don't want anything else nerfed. I want the Necromancer to get what it deserves. Let's start with the most obvious one, and that's our Golem. Our passive that we're meant to get at level 25 that is supposed to enhance our character tremendously. Now it's cool, you get a gigantic golem, you can choose 6 different abilities, 3 different kind of golems, or you can sacrifice it for 30% critical strike damage. Sounds good, technically. The worst part is it actually takes a skill slot. So not only is that not a passive, it also limits the way how you can actually do your build. You have only 6 skills and one of them has to be the golem. But hold on, this is not all of it. It's meant to be a passive. Let's look at Druid passives for a second. Remember, we can get critical strike, 10% health, and we can get 10% attack speed, right? Well, the Druid has something called Spirit Boons, which are truly passive, and they can choose 5 different ones. The interesting part is they can choose 2 in one category. This is category number 2. You can get 5% critical strike chance, 10% max life, okay. Then you can get 10% at, I know that's from somewhere, and 30% critical, hold on. Are you telling me that the Druid, without any negative thing, without taking like a skill slot away, or even without only getting one tiny eeny weeny bonus, can get 10% max life and 30% critical strike damage, plus he can get 10% reduced damage from elites, plus 25% extended ultimate skill duration, and he can critical strike heal whenever he does a shape-shifting skill. What the hell? Don't nerf the Druid. But why does he get everything I get passively without a downside? And then when you're looking at the Sorcerer, they have their enchantments that they could put on skills without a single downside to just boost their skills as a true passive. Now, how could that be fixed for the Necromancer? It's actually very simple. First and foremost, the Golem should be always there, unless I sacrifice him. But there should be no need to put this in my skill bar. And as a Necromancer should either get another button to activate his ability, or he should just automatically cast his abilities every X seconds. Something in that direction. But if I choose to sacrifice him, in comparison to the Druid right now, I would really wish to all 3 bonuses to apply. I know this Book of Dead is like the same as the mages, the same as the warriors, so that's why the Golem is the same way. But realistically, I want 30% critical strike, 10% health, and 10% attack speed, or half of this. But if I sacrifice my Golem, I need to get boost, I need to get stronger. I mean, you're level 25 and you get 10% more health, that doesn't feel much. You get 30% more crit, that doesn't feel much, or 10% attack speed. All of these don't feel like much, but if you get all 3 of them, it truly feels like you're getting passively boosted. And if you could keep the Golem in your build without having to compromise between a skill or the Golem, that would be fantastic. Because as a summoner, you're losing 2 skills already with your skeletons and your Golem. Now again, don't nerf Druid, but at least have a weenie beanie look at the Necromancer and how that ability actually works. Now to the key passives and ultimates being an absolute joke. You do have Shadow Blight, which is plenty cool for damage, and you have Rathamus Vigor, which is like a save overpower. These are cool. I don't know how useful Ossified Essence is, but if we're looking again at minions and the way how summons work, you can get 15% bonus attack speed plus additive, not multiplicative. That doubles if you have 7 minions, so that's cool. But I have to not take damage for 2 seconds. First and foremost, later you always take a certain amount of damage from any random effect, so the 2 seconds shouldn't exist. But also merely just getting 15% bonus attack plus on minions that don't actually do any damage. I mean, you have whole Paragon boards for minions. With a Cult Leader for 15x damage, you can increase the damage of the warriors, the damage of the mages, minion damage, damage reduction, so you can make them survive. That's absolutely possible. But your minions will do 10, 20k damage maybe with a hit. You're essentially forced to play the Ring of Mendon to supercharge your minions. Else, they're not going to be doing millions of damage, because that's what you kind of need to kill minions later in High Nightmare dungeons. If you never care about High Nightmare dungeons, you can play summons perfectly fine down. But if you actually want to get somewhere in the end game, you have a complete joke of minions. Especially think about this. You're a brand new player that has never played Necro in any Diablo before, and you get to the point after your core skills to go to Skeletal Mastery, and you improve the life and the damage by 45%. Not only do you have nowhere a tooltip how much damage your minions actually deal, you have to look at it and see is 15% more, is 45% more. No, this should increase the amount of skeletons because 3 points feels absolutely annoying to put in. Realistically, right now you're forced to put in an aspect for more skeletal warriors and an aspect for skeletal mages. There's no way in your abilities, there's no way in your Paragon board to boost the amount of minions. But shouldn't that be how it works? Why do I have to find an aspect to actually be able to play the mere basic summoner necromancer? No, this could give you +1 to a warrior, and this could give you +1 to a mage. Hell, even the Callan's Addict at the end could just give you +2 to each, or +1 to each if you actually take that, because it's the summoner's key passive, meant to boost summons to the next level. You do have a bunch of cool abilities. Hell, you can make them heal more, you can do attack speed, they take less damage, and they do more damage. Again, they don't actually do more damage. The scaling is vastly off. And then you get Army of the Dead, which is completely useless. I mean, I made a build where you instantly reset Army of the Dead every single time, and I cast it 8 times per fight, and it didn't do a single damage point. Now, it's cool that Army of the Dead resummons all of your minions, and it has like a high lucky hit chance of 86%. Yes, 86%. So it kind of does work, again, perfectly with the Ring of Mendon. So that means Army of the Dead is a very good skill if you have the Ring of Mendon. And then you can play summoners. But you need the Ring of Mendon. So if you don't get it, then the skill is completely useless. And you can't actually play Army of the Dead. And you can actually not really enjoy summons to a degree. Something feels off here. Now, the other 2 ultis, for example, Blood Wave. I mean, it makes a Blood Wave that knocks people back. And then it slows them. And then it makes 3 Blood Orbs. Yeah, okay. So 40 seconds for a tiny 10,000 damage Blood Wave. We could have an aspect that makes it 2, like 2 more Blood Waves, okay? So my center corpse explosion does like 13,000 damage. Why would I ever use this? There's some fun things you can do with Blood Wave, but again, how useless can you be? Bone Storm also really cool. I mean, you get a swirling Bone Storm around you, right? And your Golem doing damage. That's nice. And it has a high lucky hit chance. You get damage reduction 15% while Bone Storm is active. So while the 10 seconds of Bone Storm is running, you take less damage. And you actually get 20% increased critical strike chance. So that's cool. But again, later on, you need an aspect to extend the duration. You need an aspect that creates a barrier with Bone Storm. And yeah, like if you don't have these 2 aspects, Bone Storm in the later on feels completely useless. So for the ulti to feel even remotely good, to even feel like it does something, you already have to get the respective aspects to get somewhere. It will not feel good on itself. And that is something that is just like plenty of. And I know Army of the Dead, for example, does have a attack speed boosting aspect as well. And well, if your minions don't do damage and then do 100% bonus attack speed, and 100% bonus attack speed on no damage is still no damage. I mean, apart from if like Ring of Mendon, that a lot of you don't actually have. So yeah, kind of sad. Now again, the Necromancer feels absolutely amazing to play and has so many different builds. You can go for Bone, Blood, Shadow, Sever, Blight, Bloodlands, and Uberlils has been absolutely destroyed by a Bone Necromancer. The most interesting part though is you're kind of stuck with a couple of skills that every single Necromancer needs. Decrepify, Corpse Explosion, Corpse Tendrils, and Blood Mist. These 4 skills are more or less key part of every single build, especially Blood Mist, because it's our only skill to get out of jail. It's our only skill to get unstoppable. It's our only kind of barrier. And yes, there's a build that can infinitely use Blood Mist, but most of the Necromancers I've played, if not all, have Blood Mist in just to be able to get out of a rough situation without having any interactions with it. No aspects for it, nothing. It doesn't do anything for your build. It's not a key component. It's just there to save your butt. There's no bone armor, shadow armor. And yes, I know barbarians are also kind of like limited with their 3 shouts, but there seem to be also no shout builds. But then if we're going for our favorite druid again as main core, and then we're going for the defensive skills, like so where we have like 3 where 1 is defensive. That is Earthen Bulwark, which makes you unstoppable. This one knocks back and gives you damage reduction and slow to the enemy. Here you can heal yourself and also get cooldown on it. You can reduce the damage dealt by enemies around you, fortify yourself and heal yourself. More damage reduction. And down here is another skill to actually make you unstoppable and damage reduction. I mean, obviously you're a melee class, so you kind of need this, but why am I getting one single skill to get out of jail? And yeah, and that one doesn't even synergize natively with many builds if I'm not necessarily getting 2 aspects to boost it. And the thing is, if I take any skill from the Decrepify, Corpse Explosion, Corpse Tendrils, Blood Mist combo away, well, that's severely going to weaken my class. I mean, sure, I made a Blood Surge Necromancer that is not interacting with Corpse Explosion, but let's be real, even that Blood Surge Necromancer would profit from using Corpse Explosion. Like, there's no single build that doesn't, like, you were looking for build variety, but it's kind of, you can come back to, well, it's a skill that doesn't cost essence, that has no cooldown, and that essentially does free damage when interacting with corpses. It's to a degree a no-brainer, and this is the skill that resets all your cooldowns. So every single little build kind of utilizes these, and if you take them away, you would severely weaken the class. Now, I do love Necromancer to death, and I believe it's an absolutely fantastic, fun class to play, and that's the biggest part. The fun when playing Necromancer is unmatched. And you also should never compare the classes to each other, because no things will be perfectly balanced. But especially with an eye on the Golem passives, the summons being essentially useless and just in a supportive act, there is a lot of things that needs to be reworked with the Necromancer, overworked, buffed, altered, to kind of make him just feel better and more fun for everyone. Now, please share your thoughts in the comments below as well, and I'll be making sure to send this to my Blizzard contacts with a list of everything we kind of have gathered about the Necromancer and what we would like to see in any way altered. There's the fireside chat coming, so that might give us some boost, but we'll see. If you're now looking for the secrets of Helltides or super unique rare farms, both videos will give you all the answers you're looking for.